What up, everybody? I'm Billy D. And this is Drink, Smoke, Build. And as you can tell, with a quick spin in my backyard, I have more projects than I know what to do with. One of many projects here coming up in the next weeks, as you can tell, is my dime vertible. That's my S10. The top has been chopped, doors are off. Going to be doing a lot of work on it in the coming weeks, but also many other projects, non-car related, such as completely stripping down the old Playhouse. So here is the original Playhouse, and actually this wasn't an original. I used all of the bolts and the main posts and quite a bit of the wood from a Playhouse my dad built for me when I was 6 years old. I'm now 38, so there are some 32-year-old parts on this. And I originally stripped it down and saved all the wood and the bolts and all that stuff. Saved all of that from mine and had it in storage for years and years, along with lots of other scrap lumber and whatnot. And decided that I was going to take as much as I could, as well as some other reclaimed lumber, and build my kids a playhouse that would last them for a little bit, and then eventually strip it down and build a bigger, nicer one. So this is actually one of the very first projects I ever built. There's still a lot of good wood. The roof is actually in really good shape. As you can tell, it was an afterthought whenever I put it on there. I'm gonna go ahead and flip around and give you guys a better view from the other side. It is dilapidated in some ways and completely solid in others. So I slapped together some walls on it for the final product and really had no intention of making it any nicer. It was just something to get my kids through their younger years. As you can tell, most of them are old enough now that they could use an upgrade. So I'm going to be pulling this one apart and building something bigger this summer. There's still some good stuff in there. The floors have come out because I use press board instead of plywood like I did on the walls, but everything else is completely solid. The railing, all of the lumber that was used is fairly decent. The bolting points are still really solid, and then as you can tell, it sat here for 6 years getting battered by the storms with no real wear outside of the paint, and I've only painted it one time. So with the kids effectively having a 6-month summer, so that's one of the main reasons why we're going to be tearing down the old Playhouse and building it into a brand new, bigger, nicer, more things to do on it Playhouse, maybe even a place they could spend the night in, something sealed up, and maybe even climate controlled. We will see. We've got lots of different things to do over this next few weeks. So here is the shop. It is in complete disarray. It is a 860 square foot shop. It is big enough to put 4 full-size Suburbans in, end-to-end, two by two. It was built by a paint and body guy to have a home paint and body business, so he could fit up to 4 cars in here at once while he was working on them. And it is in disarray. As you can tell, there's where the old paint booth was with the big exhaust fan. But it is in disarray and is going to need cleaned out. A lot of stuff sold, a lot of stuff organized. This here was my studio for the longest time, and it's about to get taken down because I'm going to be building a real studio You can tell my equipment, my computer and everything. My real nice permanent studio outside of a $100 Harbor Freight 10x10 tent is going to be built into that corner over there. I'm thinking I might leave the fan up as part of the remodel just kind of for the nostalgia of it. Probably won't ever use it. I don't know. We may include it in some other project in the future. Cool piece of old equipment. That fan is easily 50 years old. So that was the shop. And as you can tell, it needs a lot of work. Ceiling, walls, insulation, new electrical run, you name it. Probably put a couple of wash basins in while I'm at it. Siding needs to be redone. Entire attic needs to be sealed up from the outside, the entire overhang. That's my lovely wife. She is taking care of cheeky chicks, which again, we do everything here, so we've been taking care of chicks for what, about 4 years now? This is our second flock.
Yeah, this is our second run.
I guess technically our third flock. Second run, third flock. And she is with my oldest, Billy Jr. And I used to build coops for a living, so I have a really, really nice coop, a $2,500 coop I built for them 5 years ago, and I've had no issues with it. I'll have to go out there and probably give it a resealer this year. That's probably about it. All the chicken wire, well, I don't use chicken wire, I use galvanized screen mesh, and all of it's in great condition. I predator proof them. Here in Oklahoma City, in the urban area, we do have a fox problem. No joke. We've got a fox problem here in the middle of the city. I have them on video. Cue that now. That was 3 or 4 years ago when I filmed that. So we do have a fox problem here in central Oklahoma City. But I built that coop to be completely predator proof. So why don't we go over and take a look at that right now. So here she is. Built her 5 years ago. It was my first prototype. I've done so many different upgrades and whatnot to this coop. Looks like it's all weathered because I used old fence panels, broke them apart, and kept the weathered look and completely deck sealed them clear. 5 different coats, and here we are 5 years later, and I probably need to reseal it again. Got one of the panels that slipped off the mount there, not a big deal, easy enough to fix. Nest box, which I'm not going to open now, who knows what's in there. Could be snakes, could be all sorts of stuff. But one thing I have done that's kind of unique and not something I've seen a lot of people do is, instead of having a whole bunch of moving parts, by having multiple doors and entries and different nest boxes and all that kind of stuff, I built one big self-contained unit. So the nest box and the door are all one unit. Unlock over here. Let's see how nasty it is not having chickens in it for a year and a half. Well, no snakes. Some dead wasps. That's fine. But over here, we have one giant door that is reinforced and held in place by some very long stainless steel bolts and heavy-duty hinges. And then in here we have Yeah, I know it needs to be cleaned, y'all. In here we have roosting bars up in. I'm not gonna get too far in there. There's a wasp nest in there somewhere. I got them flying around me. But we're gonna go through and we're gonna completely go through and maintain, reseal, clean this out, get it all sanitized. We've also been using this as our compost over here because of all the fertile chicken poop soil. Had this run built here because we have an open backyard without a fence, but I'm going to be using a chicken tractor this time and transferring them daily around the property as long as the weather's nice enough for them to forage, because we do not want to spend any money on food for them this go around. So anyway, that is our chicken coop and where the baby chicks will go here in a few weeks as they get big enough to fend for themselves in the weather. And then of course my predator proofing here, guys. So what I do is on my coops is I pour concrete, a minimum of 12 inch. I like to go 16. I only went 10 on this one, but that's because this is really clay soil and not really anything can dig down past the topsoil here. So I did I think, like I said, 10 inches around the base. And it's pretty much all grown in. Now, take you around the back here. As you can tell, it's pretty grown in back here, and definitely part of the landscape now. So I'll go through and trim all that down, make sure that I don't have baseboards rotted, make sure that all of the hardware and everything is still in good condition. So we do have a little bit of maintenance that we're going to have to do to the coop and run area, but I don't see it taking more than a day or so, and that should be a quick episode. Go through and maintaining this coop and getting it all painted up and everything. So there you go. There's the coop. There's the run. That is going to be one of the very first projects we'll get up, probably within the first 3 or 4 videos. That'll be up, and most definitely just going to be a quick maintain and how I built it, and I'll throw in some slides from when I built it. Besides the chickens is, of course, pond, built almost entirely by my mother. Has koi in it. It's kind of nasty now. We are cleaning it and adding new pumps and everything to it. That's also another project you'll see here on Drink Smoke Build. Like I said, there are no lack of projects. Got a Suburban back there that needs a new motor. Blazer ZR2 that needs a new transmission, and basically a complete rebuild again. It's one of my first cars. I bought it in 2003 with, I think, 6,000 miles on it, and I have had it rebuilt 3 different times from various things. I totaled it, hit an elk when I lived in Colorado. I got into a off-road section in Colorado way up at altitude and blew out the entire front transaxle. No kidding. $12,000 worth of work, fortunately covered by GM warranty, so didn't have to pay a dime, but it was the entire value of the car at the time. And then, of course, had it, after the elk accident, had it rebuilt, and then hit a cab, rebuilt it again, and then repainted the whole thing. Has minor cosmetic work that needs to be done to it, but mostly it's pretty clean on the outside. Just needs new transmission, completely all new bearings, bushings, you name it, all of it. I'm going to go through and replace them all. And probably end up putting a little bit of a lift on it and doing some other modifications to it, but we're not going to try to get too far away from stock, except for maybe an LS. We might do that. But many other projects to come before that one. Another project, one of my favorites, my very first vehicle, 78 Chevy Malibu with the world's worst V8, the Chevy carbureted 305. So it's been sitting in this grassy spot for way too long. Gonna get it off the ground and in the shop ASAP. Part of the reason we're trying to clear out room is to get it in the shop, do an assessment of the underneath, and see how bad the unibody is, see how much repair we're gonna have to do. And then hopefully drop an LS in this. I hear a common theme there. Everything I have on this property, I want an LS in. This, the S10, the ZR2. I already have an LS in the Suburban. Just need to completely rebuild it. So that's going to be a common theme on this channel over the next few years. Definitely not one of the first projects. We're talking probably won't attempt an LS swap for at least a year. Got lots of other things to do before then. Lots of small projects, a couple of bigger projects. In particular, we're going to be doing a full-on recycled battery bank build and solar install while we're doing the rebuild of the garage and the electrical system. So that's something that you're definitely going to want to keep an eye out for. Let me know in the comments of all the different things I've talked about on this opening episode. Tell me what most interests you. We got the Playhouse, we've got the multiple vehicles, we've got the shop rebuild, we have the studio build, we have the solar and electrical install. What else we got going on? Going to be doing some outdoor gardening. Also going to have the ongoing chickens, and so we've got a lot to do on this channel in the next few years, guys. We got a lot of fire to burn, a lot of stuff to build, and a lot to drink. Because you know, you guys here on Drink, Smoke, Build, that's what we do. We drink, we smoke, and we build.